Hi everyone, my name is Daniel, and I am with Group 4. This presentation will be about our Vishing plan. In this presentation, we'll be covering our Vishing strategy development. This will lead us into our OSINT collection and pretext creation. And then finally, we will conclude with an outline of our execution plan. To start us off, I will be passing it over to Victoria.
Thank you, Daniel. Our chosen target for the Vishing plan is OpenAI. This presents a challenge as they are a security-conscious tech company. Our primary goal is to test the vulnerability of their employees and those alike against social engineering tactics and gather valuable information. Our goals, first and foremost, we're aiming for lots of information. We want points, and more points, so we want to gather as many details as possible, no matter how small, because each piece of information counts towards our success. We also want to confirm our OSINT. This is the information we've already gathered through open source channels like names, security protocols, and much more that Daniel discusses in the next slide. Additionally, another major goal is to gain the target's trust. So building rapport will be a critical part of our strategy, and we can do so by keeping the conversation going to get some useful insights. Finally, we'll use a multi-targeted approach. We're not relying on just one person. We plan to engage employees from different departments like HR, tech support, and those involved in the recent real estate deal. Next, to make our Vishing attempts more convincing, we're utilizing several key tools such as AI bots that will help us craft real-time responses to keep conversations natural. We'll also use a voice editor to change our tone or identity depending on the target. And we want to use sound effects such as background noises like being at an airport, a baby crying, or a glitchy headset. This will create a more immersive and believable setting. Finally, we'll have team assistants on standby. If we need a quick save or additional information during the call, a team member can jump in or bail us out. Our justification in this combination of AI tools, pre-planned questions and scripts, and sound effects is designed to create a realistic scenario. Our multi-target approach ensures that if one attempt fails, others have a chance of success. By using subtle methods, we can avoid overwhelming the target and prevent caller and bot fatigue, making it easier to gather multiple pieces of information over several calls. In our expected outcomes, we anticipate some success in gathering valuable information. We're prepared for some pushback and have strategies for managing resistance. But ultimately, our goal is to discover vulnerabilities and gain insights into OpenAI security practices, which will provide a great learning experience. Over to you, Daniel.
For our OSINT collection, we decided to ask ChatGPT itself to answer some questions related to OpenAI's work life, work culture, and their internal processes and procedures. We did this because we wanted to establish what ChatGPT was willing to openly tell us about the company that created it. To begin, we crafted a prompt that had ChatGPT act as a recruiter for OpenAI. The questions we asked it were from the perspective of a prospective candidate that was looking to join the company. Once we created the prompt, we fed it to both ChatGPT 4.0 and 0.1 preview to compare the outputs and see what was in common between them. With this approach, we were able to capture 18 of the 28 flags as part of our objective. Some of the flags are as follows. We found that OpenAI offered a hybrid work arrangement for its employees. We also found that badges were required to enter the OpenAI office. OpenAI does launch phishing campaigns as part of their annual security awareness training, and employees view them positively because they serve as a teachable moment for them. Lastly, some of the common tools that employees use include Visual Studio Code, and they use Slack for collaboration. Once we had a baseline to start with, we began looking at news articles related to the OpenAI office building itself. From what we found, they are based in San Francisco and currently are in the Mission District, with future plans to expand their office space. 3 articles from the San Francisco Standard wanted to look into how the office was secured and what the employee culture was like for the company. One of the articles pointed out the private security details surrounding the building, wearing plainclothes. The journalist then interviewed several cafes and restaurants around the office, and many baristas and servers found that the overall vibe that OpenAI gives off was very secretive. The employees that worked at OpenAI were not very open after all. The last article from the San Francisco Standard was a personal interview with Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI. During the interview, Altman recalled the moment he was ousted from the OpenAI board last year as being painful and shameful, which brought to light the internal tensions among the company's executives. On the topic of internal tensions, we also looked into what current and former employees have had to say on websites such as Glassdoor and Blind. What we found in common amongst the nearly 100 reviews was that the workload was heavy, the overall work-life balance was poor, and there was a confusing and toxic culture that was being nurtured by the people at the top. Moving on to the promotional content, back in November of last year, Greg Brockman, the president and co-founder of OpenAI, posted a selfie of himself on X with a large group of OpenAI employees. In the photo, you can see at least 2 employees in the selfie using iPhone Pro models as their mobile devices. On LinkedIn, we saw a public post that talks about OpenAI's campus recruiting events happening at UC Berkeley. The post had a photo of a recruiter presenting while 4 OpenAI employees watched off to the side. The laptop the presenter was using is a MacBook, and the employees were all wearing OpenAI branded t-shirts. Lastly, on September 12, 2024, OpenAI posted a video on YouTube that interviews the group of employees behind the latest O1 model for ChatGPT. The video also showed off a clear view of what the employee badges look like and how they have it clipped to their hips. Once we were able to figure out what the employees and their badges looked like, as well as how the office expansion situation was going, we were able to find the phone numbers of the real estate agents that were leasing for the same office that OpenAI was looking into. We also figured out that OpenAI was previously subleasing from Uber, and that the new office space that OpenAI was moving into was the former site of Old Navy's headquarters. We were also able to review legal records in lawsuits against OpenAI and found a phone number linked to OpenAI. Lastly, a cursory search on LinkedIn for OpenAI recruiters pulled up many results, with one actually being a UNLV alum, so that could be an easy way in. With all of this information that we were able to gather about OpenAI, we came up with 4 different pretexts. The first pretext is the end user asking for help with ChatGPT issues. We wanted to target OpenAI's technical support by having the target click on a phishing link, which will collect browser and OS information from their computer without any further user intervention. This approach is the riskiest, as it requires the user to click on a link and might end up alerting their security tools. Therefore, an alternative to this pretext is posing as a coworker from IT support and have the user check if their Slack version is up to date, as well as find out the versions of other software that the user has installed. The second pretext is a person looking to lease office space in the same area as OpenAI. We want to target the real estate agents that work with the same office building that OpenAI is looking to expand into. This is the least risky since real estate agents often get calls from people looking to inquire about their properties and gather more information. At worst, they'll refuse to answer any questions until an in-person meeting is scheduled and a client shows that they're serious about leasing. The third pretext is a candidate asking OpenAI recruiters about the company culture. We wanted to target the OpenAI recruiters with public LinkedIn profiles. This is a less risky approach since recruiters go through many candidates as part of the hiring process. Just like the second pretext, at worst, they'll refuse to answer any such questions and leave it up to the interviewer to answer them during the application process. Both the second and third pretexts can be an opportunity to verify current information that we have or capture more flags. The fourth and final pretext is an agent from a third-party firm conducting an employee wellness survey. We want to go through as many employees as possible because at least one of them will be willing to take the survey. This approach is sort of risky as it could lead to questions and gossip within the company about the legitimacy of the survey and end up blowing our cover. Also, by calling during lunchtime or during busy parts of the day, the target may feel inclined to quickly answer questions without thinking too hard about what information they're divulging just to get the survey over with. Overall, these pretexts are all valid ways to capture more flags than what we have and ensure we have enough information needed to plan a multi-stage social engineering attack against OpenAI. And now to finish off this presentation, I'm going to pass it back to Victoria.
Thanks, Daniel. Our execution plan is broken into 5 phases. Phase 1, pre-call preparation. This phase is all about groundwork. We researched and gathered some information about our targets and our utilization of OSINT. We'll create pre-planned questions based on the flags designed to extract information subtly. We'll also script out each conversation to ensure we stay on track and set up the necessary tools like voice editors and sound effects. Phase 2, initial contact. In this phase, we'll start making our calls. First, we'll target OpenAI employees, specifically those in tech support or software engineering roles, to gather some inside technical information. We'll also contact the real estate agency or lessees connected to OpenAI's new building to gather facility and building information. The next target will be HR or recruiters. We may pretend to reach out about alma maters or job opportunities aiming to extract company basics. Lastly, we'll conduct a wellness survey with any employee that we can reach, disguising our probing questions under the pretext of employee well-being, which could be a goldmine if we target the right person. Phase 3, information extraction. Once we make contact, the real work begins and expands on Phase 2. From OpenAI employees, we're looking for more insider information. From the real estate agents, we aim to gather building-related security information and its surroundings. And HR and recruiters, we plan to gather basic company details. And through the wellness survey, we'll collect useful company information while keeping the conversation light and non-threatening. Phase 4, handling resistance or pushback. Resistance is inevitable, so we'll stay calm and composed and make sure our bot is respectful as well. So if someone becomes suspicious, we'll follow the keep calm and carry on approach. Next, we are prepared for escalation, where the target might become more defensive or question us, and we'll use tactics to keep the conversation going. Lastly, team assistance will be key here, with teammates ready to bail us out, keep track of time, and help reel the target back in. Phase 5, post-call actions. After each call, we'll log and review the interaction to determine how successful we were in gathering information, which will help us improve for future calls. That wraps up our Vishing plan. We look forward to hearing your thoughts on how we can improve our approach and make our simulation even more effective. Thank you.